Okay, we are live. I think it worked. So, hello everyone. Today we are playing Summer School in Hogwarts. This is a game organized by the Gauntlet. It abides by the Gauntlet's inclusive free policy, and it's subject to previously established lines and veils, which is a living document that any of our players you can feel free to add at any moment. We also have an open table policy. So if anyone at any moment needs to leave the game for some reason, feel free to do so. We also will be using the X card and script change as part of the role for your party. Now, we start our story on an unusual day, a day much longed for two yachts of two prestigious wizarding families. We zoom out into King's Cross on a very unusual liminal platform, and we focus on two of those families. So let's start. Dave, why don't you introduce to the very draconic house of MacLagan and their youngest wizard?
Okay, so as you frame across Alistair McLagan, he's uh, first year student. He's already going into an athletic frame, red haired, pale, slightly freckly, with a classic Scottish look. His mother is standing there, just adjusting everything. His father is dressed in a full kilt with long locks of red flowing curly hair. Uh, and his father, I think, presents him with a wooden box and opens it up to find his wand for the first time, which is maple and it has the black dragon of the family. The Hebridean families that are the McLagans are keepers of one of the Black Dragon reservations. So it is a family wand. Um, Alistair takes it and looks at it. It's quite delighted, but he says, "I still don't understand why we had to come from Scotland to London to get a train back to Scotland."
It's tradition. Also, we needed to pick up some stuff for Diagonal Alley. We had to make sure that the wand was on top-notch condition, my boy. Uh, who is noticeable on their absence? And Alistair would wish that they came with them to bid them farewell.
The family's house elf is missing. Uh, his father, Lord McLagan, is big in the ministry. The McLagan is one of the wizarding families in the sort of lineages, so he's big in the ministry. And while his father was away and his mother was dealing with the affairs of the estates, he spent more time with the elf being brought up than by his parents.
What is the elf's name?
Sporran. Just that strange furry things that you wear in Scottish traditional garb at the front.
So we cut to another family, the famous house of Radcliffe, and we seemed carrying a lot of luggage, as they also seem to have made the voyage to London to depart to the Hogwarts Express. And
Yes.
who do they see them escorting?
I think you actually see Griselda Radcliffe getting dropped off at the station because her parents need to get back to work, and she's been sort of like taking her time packing all morning, and now it's like they're running late and they're like, just go. And she's got far too much luggage and her owl wool. Um, and she thought it would be a great idea to bring this giant wand as a prank, and now she's having to try to get it through St. Cross, or sorry, through not St. Pancras or St. Cross, King's Cross, and she's like got the owl on the top of it, and it's just like, pardon me, excuse me, and like bags are bumping people everywhere. And she's gone the wrong way, of course, initially. And I think if you follow her and her like bouncing belongings that she's picking up along the way and a very disgruntled owl, you will eventually get to platform 9 3/4.
So, as Griselda, Griselda is making all this, drawing attention and opening a way through. She catches some unusual glances, and being from a wizarding family, she recognizes the intense stares of people from the ministry.
Oh dear.
Who do you recognize from frequenting your family house as an auror?
I think handy dandy name generator. That Eldred Warren, who is an Auror, but also sort of works closely with the like whatever the department is that handles Muggle affairs, but doesn't like not studying them, but like trying to keep things under wrap. Is unfortunately friends with my parents and has never been too fond of me. So when I arrive at 9 3/4, I then conspicuously slow down and maybe like whistle and look around like the most suspicious way of acting like you're not doing anything improper that you could really do. Like the exact thing you do to show people that you're trying to look like you're not doing something wrong, which of course makes it worse, I imagine. But technically you were in charge. So how does he respond if he does? Or do I just brush on past him?
You brush on past him, but as you do, the Hogwarts Express whistles, signaling that it's going to depart soon. And as you make your way to boarding, Aldred approaches and makes a gesture to help you with the luggage. You know.
I will definitely let him. I cannot afford to miss this train. My mom will be absolutely furious. I have to get on the train. It's my first year at Hogwarts. I need to make a good impression, at least a good enough one that when I then start messing with it later, people won't suspect me right away. So yeah, he's a friend of the family and is also interested in not letting Muggles catch on. So I'm going to imagine he's going to try to smooth out the process for me. Hopefully, I am not wrong.
And as he puts the last luggage on top, you meet his worried stare, and he says some certain people are enrolling this year. If you have any problems at all, please do not do your usual stuff. Just write to your mom immediately.
I don't know what you mean, my usual stuff. If there's some worrisome person, I would like to know who they are, so I might stay out of their way.
Griselda, this is no joke.
Okay, I have to get on the train. Did you hear the whistle? The whistle already blew. I can't. You know my
Yeah.
mom. She's gonna get really upset.
He nods and goes away.
With my suitcase, or is he giving it back?
No,
or?
no, yes, he moves away from the doors and lets you go.
Oh, good. So I've made it on the train. Hooray! Hurdle 1, success.
So then we also see Alistair McLagan making his way into the train. And they are just finishing putting the luggage safely on the compartment. And as they move to look for seats, the train starts darting out of the city of London. Do you look for someone in particular when looking for seats? Or you make your way through the train looking for the first empty space?
I also was grown up in the Highlands and the islands of Scotland, so I wouldn't know almost anyone unless he's come to London with his father in the past. So it's more likely just to plonk down to the nearest available seat, irrespective of who he's by, and takes a book out on the history of dragons in use in magical conflict, and disappears into his book.
I think I definitely. I mean, I've got like this giant stick with an owl at the top, increasingly very disgruntled owl, and like way more stuff than is appropriate to be bringing. And I am just looking for anywhere to put it down and sit as fast as possible.
Okay, so McLagan, as you are sitting with your book, someone else sits in front of you and does not say a word and also pulls out their book. And before you can react, you can hear the tapping of wood on metal as someone, well, you guess that there is someone underneath all that luggage is just trying to make their way through the train. Now, there are 2 empty seats at the end of the current carriage. The thing is, Griselda, how would you describe the youngest child of the neighboring wizarding family and frequent target of your pranks?
Oh, have I been pranked? Is this
Who describe your victim?
But it's not David, right? It's not David's character. It's like an NPC. Okay.
It's the person sitting in front of David.
He is he's named Emeric Dubois. And he's kind of a jock type, a bit of a meathead, which makes it really easy to prank him. He's not like a bully per se, but he can be insensitive because he just like is not very perceptive. And so, because he's a neighboring family, we've had plenty of encounters over the years. And the number of times he's just like bumped into me while walking without saying sorry or whatever else. And so, if he sometimes wakes up with like an exploding candy or some such, who knows how these things get there? But I'm hoping it'll help him get on his toes. He needs to pay a little more attention.
So there are 2 empty seats. One is next to him, and another is next to another wizard. This one, a red-haired one, which you are not familiar. that it probably not frequent the circles of the ministry. Well, at least the Radcliffe circles of the ministry.
Would this be Alistair McLagan?
Yes, and he's reading a very uninteresting book, I take, for your interests. Well, it's not like Emmerich is not reading a book, but the thing is that the book that he's reading is History of Quidditch.
I'm sure it is. Yes. He does like all the sports ball games. Prime pranking time is when they're on, in fact, because he doesn't notice anything else. I would love to meet this new boy. I'm not huge on history of magic, but like there could be some cool historical spells in there. And besides, I don't know him yet. I need to make friends. So I'm just gonna grab all my stuff. Like, is there like a luggage thing above the seats? I imagine. So like just shoving as much of it as I can, and like it's starting to like bits of it are falling out, and I'm sort of sorry. So I stuff all of it there and kind of like hang. I assume there's a spot to hang cages for the owls, since so many of them of us would have them. And then kind of, whew, goodness, I didn't even think I was going to make the train. Oh, it's so good to meet you. I'm so excited. Are you so excited? I'm a first year. Are you first year?
Slowly closes the book, putting a bookmark in, turns it down and puts it on his lap and looks up at you and says, "That's an awfully big trunk for going to school with, lassie. What have you packed?"
I'm not really sure at this point. I was trying to decide between a bunch of things, and then it sort of got to that point where like either you go or you don't make the train, and I just kind of shoved whatever fit. So I think it'll be like an adventure when I get home and unpack, and when we get there and unpack, and I'll be able to see, if I've even brought anything useful. And if not, all the more adventurous, right? First year at wizarding school.
At least you've packed your toothbrush. Looks at your big wand and says, "I'm pretty clear you've bought your tree trunk."
Well, being like this is my first year at school and I wanted to make an impression, and they say bigger is better. So I just thought, this was the biggest one I could find. And it doubles as like an owl holding stick. So
who says bigger is better?
I've heard it. Some of the guys in my neighborhood, I don't know what they're referring to, but I figure if I just go with that all the time, then whenever I get to the things that are better when they're bigger, I will be set.
If it makes you happy, then what more could anyone want? My name is Alistair McLagan of the Clan McLagan, the House McLagan, keepers of the Northern Islands of Hebrides, the Black Rock, and the Five Dragon Keep.
Wow, that's a lot of things on your name. That's very fancy. You must be an important keeper of islands and dragons.
Yes, that's why I said it.
I just wanted to acknowledge it. I'm honored to make your presence, or your acquaintance.
Wonderful.
Sir, I'm Griselda. I'm so happy to meet you. You seem lovely.
You seem loud.
I've been told that.
You can hear chuckling from a very red Emmerich that is pretty much trying to disappear behind the history of Quidditch.
Mm-hmm. I'll get him later. Don't worry. I'm not always loud. I just get excited about things. When I meet a new person who's nice and could possibly be a friend, I just get really excited. But sometimes I'm quite quiet because I do like to do sneaky things a bit. Just between you and me, since you're my first friend at Wizarding School. Don't tell anyone.
Right, are we friends now then?
Well, I would like to be your friend. I'd be happy to be your friend, even if you weren't my friend. I don't know how that works, but I will be nice to you, and then maybe you will like me, and then this question will not feel so awkward.
Aye, we can try to be friends. Why not?
Lovely. Would you like some of my snack?
He see, my friends call me Mac, and I would say that when I saw that itching powder in your case, if you were to use any of that on me, lassie, we will not be friends for very long.
No, that's why it's good we're friends. I don't use it on my friends. I use it on people who just, well, there are a variety of reasons you might want to make someone itchy, but being your friend is not one of those. So I think we're probably pretty good there. But the chocolate frogs, they're not like hexed or anything like that. So if you wanted one of the chocolate, I was gonna have one as a celebratory. I made it on the train with at least most of my belongings in my owl moment. Would you like one?
Mother does not like me having sugar. Instead, I have, he pours out a bag of dried apples. I have dried apples and nuts and raspberries.
Do you know what goes really well with dried fruit? Is chocolate. And your mom's not here. We're out on our own. Like, this is our time.
You know, my mother may not be here, but to act like a jackanapes and disobey your parents' wishes, it seems. I thank you for your kind offer, but I think I will keep to my apples.
Okay. Well, let me know if you change your mind. My parents, I think, decided a while ago to be very choosy about what things they actually enforced with me, because I can be a bit of a handful, I've been told. I just like to have a good time. But chocolate frogs are, I think, the least of their worries a bit sometimes. So I respect your dedication to honoring your family.
That's very kind of you.
Are you excited to be here? I've been waiting for this day.
I think I would call it more nervous than excited.
But you're Alistair McLagan, holder of many islands and keeper of dragons and probably several other impressive things that I've forgotten but still matter to me. How could you be nervous? You obviously, like, you have a heritage of much import. So
I'm unsure which house I will end up in. My
oh,
father is a Ravenclaw. My mother was a Hufflepuff.
ooh, an interesting mix.
They
Do
keep
you
each
have
other
a
in check?
Well, that's nice. I mean, I think I've heard that the hat just knows somehow. I mean, it is a magic hat, so I suppose that makes sense. But I've decided not to worry about it, because if the hat just knows, then it'll pick the right one. And it's not like we can only talk to people in our house, and it's not like one house is bad or one house is good, right? They just have different flavors.
And what house is it that you would seek to be in?
I mean, I've sort of imagined a Gryffindor, but they all have their, charms, right?
Aye. And which house would you not like to be in?
Well, I feel like I could get by in any of them, but I don't feel like I would fit in as well maybe with Slytherin. Because my jokes tend to be sort of just good-natured silliness, and I get the impression that they're more of the plotting type, and I don't have as much attention span for the long cons, It's more like, exploding spider sparkles in your shoes, at least so far. We'll see once we get through some classes. Maybe we're going to learn some really cool spells. I don't know about you, but I
You
learned a
do
few in
realize you're
advance.
coming here to study and not go on a summer holiday, right?
That's what I was just saying. We learn all these cool spells in the classes. I even pre-gamed. I learned 3 spells before to just have, up my sleeve. You know what I'm talking about?
I'm looking forward to the library more than anything else. There's nothing like it outside the ministry.
That is true. And I'm sure there are no terrifying books there that have been left for hapless students to I don't know, suffer horrible consequences. I've heard stories, but they're probably all false. I'm sure they're all false.
I'm
Hogwarts,
sure.
very prestigious.
Well, I'm sure it will be fine.
Thanks for letting me sit with you. It's nice to have a
It's no
friend.
problem, lassie. But I mean it about the itching powder. And he'll pick back up his book and start reading.
Griselda thinks to herself, it might take a bit to bring this one out of his shell, but she is now officially determined to do it.
On the other end of the carriage, you can hear the ushered sounds of conspiracy. As you can see, a group of 6 boys and girls huddled around something, muttering with each other. Let me see that. Let me see that. My mom does not want me to read this kind of stuff. Cannot be real, can it?
Do they look older than us, or?
They look older. They look at least second, third years.
Alistair. They've got some secret thing up there.
Carefully puts the bookmark in, closes the book, puts it onto his lap, and looks at you and says, "Sorry, I was somewhat occupied there. What?"
I don't know how you missed it, reading or not. There's like a secret thing going on. A bunch of those students, they look a bit older. There's something about like my mom wouldn't want me to see that. Like there's some cool illicit thing going on. Don't you want to know what it is?
No.
I mean, what if it were something like the itching powder? Wouldn't you want to get ahead of that?
Why would there be kids on the other end of the train concocting to put itching powder on me? What do
Maybe
you
they
know
haze
about
freshmen.
itching powder? Is this something you're involved with?
No. I am a lone wolf. And that's that. You know, my affairs are mine alone. But you know, I hear things that when you first get to a school, that older kids like they prank the younger kids, they haze them and stuff. If there's something coming up, I want to know about it so that I can be prepared.
You're not a wolf, lassie. You're much more of a fox.
Oh, yeah, I like that. Thank you. Should I go try to listen?
If it makes you happy.
I mean, what if whatever they're talking about, what if it is a hazing thing? I wouldn't want them to do it to you. I think boys usually get these things worse than girls.
Unless, of course, they like you. Then they'll haze you.
Do they like you?
They like me. I don't know. I have not met them.
That's where the danger is, I think. We need to make either a strong entrance so they know not to mess with us, or a like sly entrance so we know how they're going to mess with us and we turn it back around and miss out on them.
Why don't you make a sly entrance, and once you've made your sly entrance, if you need me, I'll make a bold and thump them in the cheeks sort of entrance.
Ah, great. We're a team already. I love it. All right. So I assume there's some sort of move I should take up if I want to.
First, describe me how you are approaching this group.
So you said they're in the car ahead of us? Is that right?
No, they are on the other hand of the car.
Are they other the same car?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to picture what the interior of the car looks like in terms of like moving around in it.
Well, it's pretty open, except where you are, because someone brought way too much luggage, so there's a lot of stuff cluttering. But afterwards, it's still pretty easy to move. Yeah, all the seats are filled, but as this goes on, more and more heads are turning to see what the group is doing.
Sorry, I somehow like triggered a bunch of weird things there, and I was muted. You said they're near the restroom?
No. Yeah, I said that more and more people are turning their heads to see what is going on.
Okay. So I think slyness, like foxy as I may be, slyness is not actually really my strong point unless I have a planned prank and I like already know the terrain. But what I am capable of doing, and do a lot because it makes people underestimate me, is acting clueless. I'm very rarely not paying attention, but I sure can act like I'm not. So I'm just gonna sort of like wander up the car, and not too close to them to start, so that they'll keep talking, just in case they're gonna stop if I get close enough. But like I dropped something on the floor, and I'm like trying to figure out where it might have rolled to in their general direction to see if I can overhear something.
Okay, so in that case, because you're trying to overhear, why don't you give me again knowledge? So you're gonna roll plus intellect.
Okay, so that's a flat roll for me. Grab my old name for a second. I am Griselda. So I got a 10.
That's quite good. So from the move,
No one's more surprised than me.
so from the move, you actually get to ask only one. Yeah,
On a
only
10?
one. Yes, it's weird. I know. So you get to answer one question from the narrator, and they must give a true answer.
Oh, okay.
So what here is not what it seems to be. Where is the thing I'm looking for? What's the history of this? How do I make this useful? Are they telling the truth? What do they really want? And what do I remember about this?
Now, I've been playing games very similar to this rule-wise under a bunch of different GMs. The level of flexibility with the exact wording on questions tends to vary.
I'm very flexible. So don't worry on the interpretation.
Okay.
So
Excellent, thank you. Like I'm looking at what do they really want, basically meaning like what's going on here? What are they plotting?
So you know plotting, not of the
I do.
kind, but yes. And you know trouble brewing when you see it. And as you are poking around, as I feel like you are watching for the cart with all the nice stuff to buy, you can overhear them. They are huddled around a newspaper, and you do not see the moving pictures on the newspaper, or you read the text, but you hear the snippets of the conversation. You can understand that they are utterly fascinating by whatever is on the paper, and you can see on the face of them that they are both horrified. At the same time, they get this kind of morbid pleasure that you get when you see a terrifying idea and the notion that it might be true.
Okay, so it sounds that they are not actually planning some nefarious thing against.
They are not, well, not to you, not directly, but they seem to be trying to figure out something about the world outside of the confines of Hogwarts. Something related to whatever they are reading.
And it sounds like it's not just a fun prank. There's some actual concern.
Yeah, this goes way beyond the reaction to a prank. It's like they get a glimpse into the adult world, and it's both shocking and fascinating them. They want to know more, clearly.
I'm going to I think I'm just going to immediately go back and talk to Alistair. because I don't think they're going to give me the newspaper, and I'd prefer them not to have even really noticed that I was around. So I'm going to sort of just bumble back the same way I came, like looking at the ground as though I dropped my glasses or something. Yes, that'll come up, I promise. But Mac, can I call you Mac yet?
Puts the bookmark back in the book, closes it back to his lap ever just so, and turns to you and goes, I doubt I could stop you even if I said no. But you can call me Mac.
Thank you, that's lovely. And I'm sorry I keep interrupting your book. It must be a really good book. You look really involved. But I have to tell you, I sort of, I went like I was looking for my glasses or something so they wouldn't pay any attention to me. I think
They're
something
on your
weird's
head.
going on.
The glasses are on your head.
They didn't know what I was fake looking for, so it doesn't matter that they're on my head. I wasn't actually looking for anything. I was eavesdropping.
I'm
And
trying to help.
it was well, thank you. I do appreciate that. But I was going for the fox thing, like we talked about, right? Like I was going to fox it, and then if needed, you were going to come in. It was like the team move. But what I heard, they were like looking at a newspaper, and I couldn't get a glance from where I was at. But something in the newspaper has them a bit shook up, it seems. And I couldn't quite tell whether they were actually going to react to it in an active way or not, but I could tell that it was not like fun Hogwarts shenanigans. I'm thinking we should try to get our hands on a newspaper. Don't you think? I mean, if the older kids are reacting with that much concern.
Well, if I help you get the newspaper, will you let me read in peace? Till at least we get across the English border.
I mean, doesn't it depend on what's in the newspaper? Might not the extremely concerning thing in the newspaper warrant your attention?
All right, Letty. If it's more exciting than the history of dragons in Napoleonic conflict, then we'll talk again. But otherwise, you let me read my damn book.
That seems fair.
So, opportunity presents itself as the doors slide and an elderly man pushing out a cart full of sweets and some salty treats, which we don't know because nobody ever got them in the books, enters the car, and the promise of delicious pies and chocolate frogs is even more interesting than the newspaper. So the older kids just drop it and rush towards the cart and leave it unattended.
Luckily, I already have chocolate frogs, so we don't need to get anything.
As all of the less well brought up children are being distracted by chocolate, I'm going to try and get what I seek, and just quite literally walk past it and thieve it while they're distracted.
Okay, so roll plus scanning.
I think I've got cunning. Oh, roll for my party. Where's the roll for my party window go? I know I had it open, but I've lost the roll for my party. Have you got the link? Thanks. That's a 12. Well, 10 plus 2 is 12.
Great. So on Get What You Seek, well, you get what you wanted, no problem. So get the newspaper, and you are able to discreetly get away and back to your seat before anyone noticed. And immediately on the newspaper, you can see that this is no publication that you can find at the McLagan house. It seems poorly printed on very poor quality parchment, strung together. The moving pictures, they are quite kind of blurry, and the name is only the name of the newspaper. There are no names of the authors of the articles or anything. It is called the Muggles Papers, and it is troubling immediately on the first page because you see a blurry photo of some kind of wizard living what seems to be, you heard about them, the the muggles call them crime scenes, and right next week the title 162 dead this year due to wizard related causes. The ministry is silent on it.
Max, you believe that?
Well, it's in the paper. Why would I not believe it?
Because this is a really weird paper. There are no reporters' names. It's on weird paper. It's like this is not a normal newspaper, and it's claiming a giant ministry cover-up of someone killing a bunch of muggles.
Oh, Greasy, Emmerich says. Cover up? There's no need for cover up. You know, nobody cares about no muggles.
I'm just gonna sit and think about the presence of the itching powder in my bag. Not gonna use it now, but I feel reassured knowing it's there. Actually, I'm gonna lean over to Matt. That's why I brought the itching powder.
Rolls his eyes. It looks at it. I'm going to try and gain knowledge from the book newspaper Ludo to figure out what can be discerned from the odd paper and where it might have come from. So I think I'm rolling plus intellect for that. Oh, I'm used to it. A game I was playing the other day was for actual physical dice, and that's confused my brain. I don't need real dice. I need these virtual dice. No. That's a 3 plus a 1 is a 4. Is it an XP on a fail?
Yes.
All right, something good came out of it then. So it's fine. She looks at it, and I think I'll.
Yeah, you can ask the question. The good thing is that you can ask even on a failure.
Yeah, actually, if you're not sure you get the knowledge you wanted, you may ask the narrator a question. They don't have to give you the full answer or a true one. All right, okay. Right. So what I wanted to figure out was this on around the question what here isn't what it seems to be, because this doesn't seem to be a normal newspaper. The really bouncy girl thing keeps telling me that it's not. So I was trying to figure out what was odd about it.
Yeah, you go flipping to the paper and you can see that there is a lot of news that you will not even call it news in your house. It seems out to be about boring muggle stuff. And you really don't understand how this can be interested for really the wizarding world at all. I mean, there's nothing about magical creatures or whatnot, or new magic items to sell or whatnot. No, it's all muggle stuff, and awful, awful muggle stuff. And it seems to be very anti-ministry. But as you go through it, you notice that there's something familiar to how this is organized and the ink and the material. And you look at your bag of fresh supplies from Diagonale and you think, no, cannot be, can. And you pick a inkwell and the newly bought feathers and you scratch it on an empty sheet of parchment and you realize that this seems to be compiled from school supplies. This is probably a newspaper or more of a news sheet compiled by students.
Compiled by students, right? And what was it called?
The Muggle Papers.
Okay. Sorry, let's make a note to that because this is a mystery game. It might come back up. Right. So
Yeah, I'm trying to write everything down. Sorry if I keep looking away from the camera. I'm like jotting things.
Mac flips through it, passes it back, and says, "It's all about muggles. There's not a dragon in it. There's not Quidditch in it. There's not even a slightest idea of who the heck would want to make a pie out of shepherds? No, no, we're. This is not more interesting than my book. So, you lip me book." And he picks up the book.
I can see I'm just gonna have to handle this myself, but I don't think I can handle it until we get to the school. So I'm going to. Oh, we still have their newspaper though.
Yes.
They might notice it's missing. Yeah.
Not yet.
I'm just gonna like snatch it from. I'm taking his thing about the book very seriously. I'm determined to befriend him. I don't want to break our first agreement, so I sort of snatch it away, and then just like very lightly toss it so it sort of skims right above the floor and hopefully lands somewhere in the vicinity.
Yeah, as you try to do that, you can see that the cart is moving away from them and they just figure it out and they are looking exactly at you. So why don't you give me a roll to hide?
Okay,
So
I was like,
it
keep your
is
cool.
hide
No,
and
that's
sneak.
wrong.
Hide
Hide and
sneak,
sneak.
which is cunning, which is very good for you.
Yeah, that's terrific. I suppose I can't stand in the face of danger instead. Ooh, is it too early for me to try to use the just like roll when there's nothing that really applies?
No, because you only roll when there's nothing really to applies when there is no move that covers it. And you are trying
Right.
to hide the papers. So that's how hide and seek.
Oh, right. No, I was gonna try to not go for hiding the papers because I don't think that's good. I was gonna try to go for something entirely different.
Okay.
It feels
So
obvious to me if they've already seen me that like I can't
no,
hide the
no.
paper.
They are looking at you because they are at the other end of the car. So there's no other place which they should look. So, but you still have a time. You have an entire car between you and them. So,
Oh.
which approach do you take them to handle?
I mean,
because it's inevitable that they'll go look around and make to you. So, what you do?
so what I was thinking I would do was sort of make a scene, a really bumbling scene, like knocking over some of my luggage, but also maybe using that smoke producing spell so that just everything in the car gets like completely, everyone's confused. And like by the time everything's sorted out, hopefully they will have like not been as focused on like, did she have the paper and more like, what the hell is going on?
So you are trying to hinder their search for the paper. So hinder a character. So role plus loyalty.
Okay. Well, that's a 3 with +1.
Well,
That's more the kind of roll I'm used to. So,
well, that mark XP, which is
Yep.
useful. So they don't seem to make you make this big mess, but it does not seem to be slowing down. I mean, they are not distracted by it. They keep going. They keep looking over the shoulder of people, and the thing that you notice is, why is Emmerich smiling? And then you realize that you also don't know where the papers are now. And Emmerich has this big stupid grin on his face.
And he just made that derogatory comment about muggles too. Oh boy. Do we have an NPCs tab for keeping track of names?
Yeah, we have the mystery tab.
Okay, I see. Just wanted to make sure that it was written down. Sorry, Garrett just messaged me back. It's the moment has passed. But anyway, he's having a nice time, which is lovely. But I didn't mean to get distracted. Okay, so I can't talk to Mac about it. Mac has made his position on this situation clear. I'm not going to try to talk to Emmerich because I have decided he is at best an itch powder worthy candidate and at worst a villain. I think I'm just going to stride up to the upperclassmen who have lost their newspaper, which I do not have, and introduce myself.
So you can see that by their scarves that all of them are from 2 houses. Which houses are those?
David, do you have any input on this? Should we make them like the houses we're hoping to be, or should we make them other houses so that we're sort of like have entrance ways into talking to people from all the houses? I'm leaning towards the latter.
They're probably not Slytherin if they're really worried about lots and lots of muggles.
True.
Problem. So I would say there's probably a Hufflepuff there, and Gryffindor would make sense if that's where you're going to go, because at least then we've got some more likely have direct connection into the plot or a rival in your house. So let's say Hufflepuff and Gryffindor.
Okay.
Saps that they all are.
Gryffindors are badass. You just wait. But okay, so I go up to the scarfed, whatever you want to call them, upperclassmen from Hufflepuff and Gryffindor. And I'm just going to do my signature move, which is acting like a ditz, so that people will be disarmed. Hi, I'm Griselda. This is going to be my first year at the school. I'm so happy to meet you guys. What houses are you in? What's going on?
So the first person to step forward seems to be this 4th-year student of Gryffindor. She has her short hair that is dyed purple and pink. And she presents themselves. I'm Anemode Andromeda. I am... and she pulls a badge that is still very shiny. I am a new prefect of Gryffindor.
Oh my god! I feel so lucky to just run into you in the cart. It's so nice to meet you.
Yes. Can you please get out of the way? We are in the middle of something.
One of the things I wanted to introduce myself because I really am really happy to meet you, but I think that guy back there took your newspaper. And I'm gesturing obviously at Emmerich.
And you can hear gasps of horror from the other people, especially from a young boy from the Hufflepuff.
Okay.
Well, youngish, one of the 30 years olds. And Andromeda seems to be trying to play it cool. I don't know what you might be talking about.
Well, I don't know what it is. I just, like, you guys seem to have something and it looked like it dropped, maybe? And he took it. And I didn't want, I'm new here. I know first impressions are important, and if something of yours went missing and I didn't say anything, you might think I had taken it, or you might think that I had just like watched someone take it and then not talk. And I want you to know that like I'm here to be a part of the team, right? Like we're all go team Hogwarts, right? I know we're in different houses. I don't even know what house I'm going to be in yet, but I don't think it's nice when sketchy people take other people's things. That wording is meant to, since I'm not sketchy, it's fine when I take things. But I'm not saying that part out loud.
Andromeda seems to be looking you up and down. You get the immediate read that part of her brain is thinking, how do you know that it's a newspaper that is missing? And the other part is too obsessed to don't confirm that there is a newspaper that is missing. And she seems to be struggling with these two dissonant ideas, seem to be thinking what to do about you. Right. That's the spirit that I expect from young students. I can see you have a bright future in Hogwarts.
Do you really think so?
Yes. And she's still contemplating if she should try to discipline you somehow, but then she has to reveal that she had the paper. If you find subversive material, perhaps you should destroy it.
You're not thinking you don't think I should try to like go through his things, do you? I just saw him pick it up. I didn't even see what it was.
Right.
Like it looked like a newspaper or something, but like I don't know why he would pick up something that you dropped. That just seemed sketchy to me. And he's my neighbor, and I know he's kind of sketchy to me. So, I just.
So, what do you want to get from them?
What I'm trying to do is sort of ingratiate myself. Like, obviously, I'm trying to deflect the fact that we took the newspaper in the first place. But I am telling the truth that I am telling the truth that he has it. I'm like trained by masks, and I'm like, keep your cool. I'm trying to keep my cool. But basically, I'm just trying to make her feel like my gestures towards her are sincere.
Okay, give me a get what you seek. So with bravery.
Okay. And that's a 4, which is 1 higher than the 3 I got on my last roll, both with an extra bonus. Snake eyes and then a 1 and a 2. I'm amazing.
So
XP?
Yeah, you get XP, and you can see that she's really feeling manipulated. You can feel that this is not the kind of people that likes to be in a position in which they are not in control. She kind of reminds you a bit about yourself, but as a cop. And you get the feeling that she's writing to you. Right. I should mention to you, in case you end up in the Gryffindors, we don't look well upon those that would snitch on their companions. I appreciate the bravery of what you did, but to throw the people under the bus or the train in this case that helped you do that, frown upon the Gryffindors. If I see you on the Gryffindors, you better remember this. And she
I absolutely will, but okay. Well, she seems a bit odd. Stay out of her way. But she is not searching my stuff, which I guess she wouldn't find anything. But that was probably not a good start for my Gryffindor career. But
they move out of the cart actually, and as soon as they open the door to the next car, she turns and she says, Asio Muggles papers. And they fly Emmerich's out of Emmerich's bags and directly into her hand. And she moves away with her entourage to the other car. And
Awesome.
Emmerich is completely like, oh my god, I completely forgot magic was a factor. Seems completely stunned by the concept of someone using Ezio.
I think at this point, I'm just going to go and sit back in my car seat, my train car seat quietly, and not bug Mac with his book and not use any of my itching powder yet, because this was not the way I intended to start my year. And I have to start thinking about how I'm going to fix it.
Mac doesn't look up from his book, but he says, so, in the rough hour that I've known you, you've asked me to steal something for you. You framed someone with evidence and managed to upset someone in Gryffindor. Is this going to be a routine thing if I'm going to be your friend?
Okay. First of all, let's get something straight. One, I didn't frame anyone. He did actually take the newspaper. I was trying to figure out how to not have it be, in your hands when they came and got mad by tossing it up the train car, thinking they would pick it up. But he took it. I saw him. So I wasn't framing him. I was just telling on him, which, snitches get stitches. I get it. But let's just use the correct terminology, right? I don't frame people. I have a sense of honor, a code. That was not the way intended to start the year, I will say.
Yeah, and then you wonder why they call you Grizzly, Emmerich says.
So, working on the principle that dickwad has stolen from her and is now calling her names, Mac puts the bookmark in, closes the book, puts it next to himself, stands up, and thumps. What's his face?
Emmerich.
A dick. Yeah, so I think he's gonna get thumped for being he stole something from my friend. So I'm going to thump him.
For the record, you have automatically won undying loyalty from Griselda for this action. You put your book down and everything. Griselda knows a friend when she sees one. You have a staunch ally.
So I guess that's a stand in the face of danger?
Yeah, pretty much. What? Yeah.
What? Let's go again. Oh, there it is. Woo-hoo. So that's a 7 plus bravery. Is an 8.
Respectable.
Mm-hmm.
So
now
I'm going. I'm gonna say that I hurt the threat, but it hurts me as well as we get into a bit of a brawl.
Yeah, basically you two start fighting, and you are pretty big and strong for first years old. And suddenly everyone forgot about this. And so you take one harm. How does harm works here actually? I think you have to mark a condition, that's it.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I'm going to mark injured then.
So for the record, I would have done a health roll, but
injury is a bit too hard. I don't think you should have the injury. Injury really means really hard.
Oh right, so do they go in is it scared, angry, stressed, jealous, or am I marking?
You can mark any of the 8.
Any of the
they have different like rolls that
Yeah,
they
I
would
just-
subtract, right?
Yeah.
notes for what makes the most sense then.
Scared
don't
is.
No,
Oh.
I don't think it's
Angry.
I was just going to tell
probably.
you what they do, but
Oh
yeah.
yeah, no, oh sorry, yeah, I'm just looking for them in the notes. What page are they on?
In the Google Doc for players, they are page 3
I can see them
in
They're
the
on
player
character sheet.
document.
Aha, in the middle conditions, got them right. All right, so the ones on the right hand side are quite mean, aren't they? So yes, I can see what you're meaning there. So I think I will go for angry then.
Yeah, no, just so that I know is going forward. The reason I didn't do a roll to help someone is that you can only add 1. Is that right?
It wouldn't have helped.
So it wouldn't have. Okay.
Yeah. I would have asked if it would make a difference.
I thought so, but I just wanted to check because I was like, I'm not helping because I don't want to help. I
Mhm.
just don't think I have the option of helping enough. But to clear, what you have angry,
Yes.
and to clear angry, you would have to hurt
Hurt
someone or
someone.
break something.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Okay.
throw something out there that you can take or not take later, but I'm just going to have it in the background of our minds.
Mm-hmm.
He's such a dick. And you're awesome. But like, it's probably not worth it. But there are these things I get at the shop near the house. There are these like exploding pop things. And when I'm really mad, sometimes I go outside where no one can see me and I just like hurl them at the ground. So they like explode. And it's even better if you put like a few glasses or something there, you just smash them. I feel like that helps me when I have to deal with him. So just might not be your style, but I'm letting you know when we get to Hogwarts, if you want to smash some things with some exploding rocks, I'm your girl.
So Griselda.
Can I just checking? We won't roll back. But reading Help or Hinder Someone, this is probably the first time we've all played it. It's a separate roll. And on a 10 plus, prevent them from taking a condition. I think was an option just to keep in mind for next time. It's not. I was just looking at going, how does that work then? And then I realized it's moved on. So don't worry. But just for our reading that, I think it's probably the first time we've all played it. So go, oh right, that's interesting. But don't worry, I like the idea of them of roughing each other up and don't like each other. This pair. What was his name?
Emmerich. Now, Griselda, question. What was Emmerich's favorite toy that they are so proud of and that you are pretty sure that they brought with them to Hogwarts?
That they're publicly proud of?
Yeah.
Or that's like their pride and joy for themselves?
Well, it is public enough that you know that personally that it was.
Right. I'm very sneaky. I'm just wondering if everybody knows about it or if it's like one of those things that I found out by being his neighbor and being a snoop.
Yeah, I think you found out by being a neighbor.
So he has a stuffed mole rat that his cousin made him when they were kids at like a camp. And there was not supposed to be a mole rat, but the cousin was just not good at arts and crafts. And so it's really just like this lumpy thing, like stuffed with fluff and like stuff sort of stuck on for legs, like maybe some pipe cleaners, and like googly eyes that have been re-glued on like 8 times that are not even on the face at all. And one of the eyes still moves around, but the other one is just stuck perpetually in one place. and some like yarn for whiskers, but because it's just yarn, it just hangs straight down. Like it's the ugliest toy you can imagine, but he always keeps it. If he's away from the house for more than a night, anywhere he's gonna sleep, he's gonna have that mole rat. And it's small enough that he kind of like, people don't really see it. You know what I mean? Like he could get it in his stuff to take to bed and like tuck it under his pillow. But I know about that mole rat. And more so, I know that he calls it Cuddles. Cuddles the mole rat. I've been waiting for the day when that information can be used. And I continue to await it with glee.
So, Emmerich, proud owner of Cuddles, the mud rat, grabs his stuff, his training, a training broom, and moves away from the car, cursing and bleeding a bit from the nose, leaving the two of you with some measure of peace. As you can see, the train is starting to slowly slow down. So what do you do?
He's left his luggage behind?
No, he's carrying it. He's just carrying it.
So he, okay.
Cursing.
That's too bad. I'm going to stay quiet, uncharacteristically quiet, because I genuinely really appreciate what Mac has just done. And he does seem to value his time with his book. And I think I'm coming across so far probably like more like mean and snoopy, like sneaky than I actually have been meaning to, so I should dial it back as much. I'm mischievous. I'm not actually mean. So my friend like stood up for me and had a rough time, and I just want to give him some space.
Cool.
Maybe I just like pick up the book and hand it back to him.
He takes the books, smiles, and then goes back. Occasionally, he'll read out interesting dragon facts to you, and exactly how Hebridean black dragons were used in the Napoleonic War. He seems very into
That's
dragons.
so cool. I've never been into dragons before, but as of now, I am. So that's so cool. You must know so much about this. Anyway, sorry, keep reading, but so cool.
Yeah, so most of the time he's himself, but when he finds something which he thinks is really cool, he will read it out and wait for your reaction and then just go back to his book.
Yep, it's always just a confirmation that yes, that was totally cool and I'm super into it, and then retreating again.
As the train stops, you hear a bell and you see someone calling, first years, come here.
Well, now we've got to get into a bloody boat. Right, okay.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, dear.
You get into the damn boats and you have to cross through the foggy lake in the middle of the night, and you can see flying candles at distance marking the approach to Hogwarts. And
what? First of all, they make me get on they make me go from Scotland to London to come back to Scotland. And now, when the train stops just outside the school, they make me get off early and get on to a boat in the fog. Who thought this stuff up?
I feel like there was this period in magic where they like didn't seem to get that magic itself was cool, and so they felt the need to like make it look cooler. And like to me that time is past, but I'm feeling like here that time is not past. They're trying to like this is not Avalon here. We all know where we are. I would offer to give you a hand, but I'm gonna be lucky if my owl doesn't end up in the river. So or lake, technically.
Yeah, fine. just mutters. See the
So,
inefficiency of it all.
which of you sees a massive shadow underneath the boats?
The what under the boat?
A massive shadow moving underneath.
Shadow.
Yes.
Oh, I think I do, because I want to exclaim about it in like a whisper that's clearly not a whisper. Mac, look! Look at the boat.
He looks as a studier of magical creatures. I think I'd like to gain knowledge. It is.
Go ahead, plus intellect.
Oh, that's a 12. But what does my condition do? I think that was around intellect, wasn't it?
No, I think it's cunning.
So that's a 12 plus then. That's
Nice.
That's 13.
So you get one question.
Well, I think my question is. What's the history of this? What am I seeing?
You look underneath the waves and you see that the shadow is of some kind of giant squid or octopus that you have heard about. The most curious about your creature seems too much close to the surface. You know that they like to stay in the dark. And after a while, you realize why. It has been severely hurt by magic, and it seems to be cursed. And why? Who will do something to such a magnificent and peaceful creature?
And I don't know all of this, right? This is just what Mac has gleaned.
So did you say it was a giant squid? Yeah.
Yeah, a giant squid.
Mm-hmm. So when he does spot it, you'll first of all look and in a very matter of fact way say, "It's just a giant squid," and then he looks and says, "But it's hurt. It shouldn't be this close in to land. It shouldn't be this close to the top of the water. We'll need to tell someone."
I agree. I'm so glad you're so knowledgeable. How lucky was I to sit next to you on the first time? Anyway, who do you think we should tell? I don't really know any of the people here yet, and I don't think that Gryffindor girl is going to...
I really think this is probably a matter for one of the professors.
Yeah.
They
No, you're
have a
right.
professor who deals with magical creatures here.
Do you think we can just go wherever we want? My parents didn't do the best job of telling me what to expect here beyond, like, please don't get kicked out.
Is there a prefect on our boat or someone, or are we just all first years? Who's on the boat with us?
I don't think anyone is on the boat. I think the boats go alone, at least from what I remember from the movies.
Yeah, that's fine. That's what I checked, and I said, well, we'll have to wait until we get to the shore, and then I'll find the professor.
Okay. Do you want me to come with you? It might be good to have corroboration.
It actually is quite easier because the moment you disembark from the boats, there are also some carriages that they seem to be driverless, but there is the groundskeeper seems to be nearby. So, first of all, two things about the groundskeeper. So, first of all, uh, uh, so Griselda, what about the groundskeeper makes you instantly trust them?
Okay, out of character. Is it Hagrid?
I I don't think. I think he is pretty young at this time.
Okay.
He was around. He's not much older than James Potter, is he, Hagrid? So he's that.
I think yeah, I think he's actually,
Wait, are the Potters like at school with us at this point?
No,
or just
no.
they probably just graduated
Yeah.
or something.
But anyway, it's not Hagrid, so I should not respond as though it is.
I think Hagrid is probably still a student here, if he even graduated.
He didn't.
Okay.
He got kicked out, didn't he?
Yeah, he got kicked out, and then Dumbledore like took pity on him basically and gave him the
Yeah.
job, right?
Yeah.
Regardless, if it's not Hagrid, I will describe a different thing that makes me feel trusted.
Actually,
than if it is.
okay, raise hands. Who wants it to be Hagrid?
No, I don't think he'd do. I think.
I think it'd be
Well,
funny if he's a
yeah.
student that we just run into like one time
I
over the course of the
like
campaign.
idea of
So,
Hagrid as a student. Yeah.
okay, so
Oh, no. Hold on. First Wood is War in the 70s. No, carry on. Whoa, hold on. Just looking there. 40 to 43. 1940 to 43 he was in. And then he left. So it's closer to the. He was. He was part of the Order of the Phoenix at this point. So whether he's here or not. So I don't think he's at the school, but he's can appear because he's older than I thought he was actually. Yeah.
okay.
So I mean, it could be he's around. Whether it doesn't, I'm not going to slow things down. So it could be Hagrid. That would be possible.
Okay, I'm gonna say that Hagrid is still not the only groundskeeper.
Okay, so it's another groundskeeper.
It can be Hagrid or it can be another one. It depends on your answers.
I'm going to assume for now it's another one just because if we pull in someone we all know stuff about, it's going to make everything slant in a certain direction. So I see the groundskeeper, and what immediately makes me trust him is that he has like a bird sitting on one shoulder, just peacefully and sort of like singing a little song, and like just various little creatures sort of hovering around or near him or on him, and they all seem really like they feel safe and at peace. And I feel like if a tiny crushable bird can feel that safe, that he must have a gentleness about him.
And what does Alistair see to him about him that tells you that he is actually Muggleborn?
He's. How would you identify someone as being Muggleborn? I think it's
Maybe
the
it's
style
just
of
a sense.
It's the style of his dress. I think the style of his dress are quite functional overalls rather than overly wizardy. So he dresses like someone who tends the land and isn't an idiot in a big flowing robe would do. So yeah, he wears sort of like John Deere overalls and has a tool belt.
So as you are looking at him, and the other first years start rushing into the castle and into the great hall for the sorting ceremony, you linger behind and you attract his attentions. And he cleans his hands on the overalls and approaches. Are you lost, young ones?
No, sir. We spotted something odd in the lake. There's a giant squid which you wouldn't see so close to the school or so close up in the water, but it's been wounded in some way, possibly by magic. I felt it should be reported because it might be in pain and might cause one of the other boats trouble.
He's telling the truth, sir. I saw it as well.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. I've been pretty busy with the preparations. I have not been tending up to the lake. I'm gonna send the boy to check out later. Thank you for that. He's going to do something, and then he turns back. 10 points to each of your houses once that is determined. And I guess you should be do something about that, don't you?
I'm gonna like hold up a hand, hopefully for a high five. I don't know if Mac is the kind of guy who will actually give me one, but like opening it up.
He
10 points.
He puts a hand, looks at you, and says, "Did you have a question?"
Just stretching. I was just stretching. The train's really cramped, you know. I feel better now. Thanks, though.
We're friends now. You don't need to put your hand up if you want to ask me something. He nods sagely and wanders in.
And I'm just gonna turn around and like look at groundskeeper
Really?
Mudblood. Is what it's written as.
His name, he did not say it to you, but his
At
name
the
is
groundskeeper.
Ovid Savoy.
Okay.
Say that again. Sorry, it was
Ovid
Savoy?
Ovid Savoy.
Why can't people have simple names like Bob?
It makes you feel any better. I currently have a dad in a game named Biff. So
Okay,
so as we were walking away, I wanted to say, like, I turned around to the groundskeeper. We'll call him for now. And just say, like, got this one. Like,
and
I'm gonna get it.
he gives a thumbs up. If you see anything weird with the magical creatures around the place, the boy has been saying that there's something wrong going around, but we still have not found evidence. So if you found something weird, but don't go into the forest. I'm going to take a lot of points if I even see you getting close to the forest. It's forbidden.
I have no desire to be devoured. I really enjoy like my bodily integrity. So I appreciate the warning. No forests, no siree Bob. Okay. I better get to the sorting hat thing, though. Yeah. I think they will notice if I don't make it.
Yeah, there is already very few students in the line. And they are like, everyone's a bit confused when they see you joining on them. So which of you is the first?
I mean, I imagine it has to be Mac, because I stayed behind to talk to the groundskeeper for a moment.
Makes sense. So, Mac, you climb to the chair, and under the attention of the headmaster, they put the sorting hat on you. And you can hear a voice. Fascinating. You will make an excellent Hufflepuff, don't you know? You have the right spirit. You're caring. You love every creature, and you hate to see unnecessary suffering. You will be great there. Well, you will be good. That's the thing. I can feel it within you. Greatness. I can see your bravery. I can see your cunning. I can see that you have a knack for learning. You could be well in any of the houses, but there is one that calls to the frustrations within your heart, is there not? You have this void gnawing at you that You're not giving your proper word that you have been denied opportunities. Do you dare to join the Slytherin? You could reach new potential there. They could help you.
Mac reflects upon this and thinks, although I care for the animal, I care for him from the point of husbandry. Good stock is hard to find. Though I have become involved, it is because it is um, important to show leadership. And no one other than I would have spotted that was a squid was even there and wounded. They were too worried by floating candles and uh, 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 mist-covered towers. No, I'm not I am not a Hufflepuff. I am not kind. And he says, "Yes, I am not a Hufflepuff. I am something else."
Indeed, I can see that. I can see that you have a discerning eye, that you don't let yourself be distracted, that you have something that you want, and nothing will stop you. You will do well. Good luck, Alistair Matlagan. And the Sorting Hat speaks aloud, Slytherin! So, what is the reaction of Griselda?
Uh, Griselda's a little taken aback immediately. Like, Mac's so lovely, and I had heard that Slytherins were not quite so lovely. But instead of going like, I guess I was wrong about him, she does the exact opposite, and it's like, I guess Slytherins are great. All right, awesome. Go Hogwarts.
And suddenly you hear your name called. And you realize it's kind of moot because there's nobody else behind you.
Right. So I rush up to the stage. Hello, I'm Griselda. Hi.
And they put the Sorting Hat on you. And you can hear a voice. Oh, interesting. I see that you have a rich past as it befits your family. I can see the expectations that some people expect you to become a Slytherin because that's what most people of magical talent of good families do. But I think you want something else. I think you want to trail your own path and make your own rules. Am I correct?
I think we both know that you are, Mr. Sorting Hat.
Indeed. You will be a good Gryffindor.
That sounds great. That wasn't so bad. Thanks, Mr. Sorting Hat.
And the hat circles as it says, Gryffindor.
Bye, Mr. Hat.
So
I know I can't hear it once it's not in my head, but I just thought it'd be nice to say goodbye.
As you go to your house tables, as Griselda approaches the Gryffindor table, most of the seats are already filled, but you can see a bunch of the older people sliding aside. And she turns to see Anemone Andromeda with a smirk on her face, patting the empty seat as if to indicate you to sit there.
Oh, Anemone, how nice is it that there's a seat right next to you when we've already met?
And she just nods as she turns to see the approaching headmaster that is going to start the speech. Meanwhile, on the Slytherin table, so there are a lot of empty spaces, and most of the people that you see, you can recognize, if not by name, by the sigil of their houses. Seems to be overwhelming of good wizarding families.
Like me.
Yes. So, but there are because of that, there are a lot of empty seats. So you can freely choose near which first-year-old you're gonna sit. So why don't you describe to me the person that you sit next to?
So he looks at the relatively burly Quidditch players and walks past them. He looks at the older prefects and walks past them, and sits on the opposite side of the table from a very bookish-looking boy, and he's got very messy curly hair and thick glasses. Obviously, it's not the most proper of them. uh, um, and Max sits down and says, "Pleasure to meet you. Looking at you, I think you might know your way around the library."
Do you recognize his family? Or you never heard about it?
Yes, but I haven't got one prepared, so I'll have a look for find one. But I
No,
reckon
the
that's
question is if it's a wizarding family or
yeah,
not. Yeah.
yeah. I think it's one of the. It's. I'm gonna say that yes, it is one of the wizarding families, but this is probably one of the more bookish and less aggressive families, and I think that Mac does know who they are and was looking forward to meeting them. And they name, I'm going to suggest actually, they are they are a member of the Tonks family.
Oh.
And I'm going to say his name is Rory. Rory Tonks. Mac's plan is in motion.
And he stutters. Oh yes, sir. Yeah. My name is Rory. Rory Tonks. Pleasure. I not sure why I am here, but at least I'm glad that we gonna be spending time together in the library. At least I know I have a study partner.
There have been, yeah, there were. Ooh, yes, there were. That possibly puts him right enough to be the son of Andromeda Tonks, knee black. So cool. Right. So I will. She goes, "Aye, there's no need to be serving me about. You can call me Mac. My friends do. Now, tell me, in the library, do you know where I can find the books on training dragons?"
I think that those are usually not kept in the library. I think that's because that's only for older students. It's probably only kept by the professor of studies of magical creatures. I think they have their own tower, the dragon tower, out of from the yard where they have this.
Mac nods sagely and looks across to the Gryffindor table and waves at Griselda, identifying the person who's most likely to help him to break into such a place.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point to end up this session. So there is a session in the move. So okay, so everyone can mark or unmark characters as friends or rivals.
Okay.
So, is anyone adding a friend or rival?
Well, I think unless it's not supposed to be PCs, I would
No,
definitely
they're
add
supported
Mac as.
pieces. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So I would definitely add Mac as my friend.
I will. I will add. Yes, I will add Griselda in as a friend.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's it. So
Oh,
And
shall I?
then
Okay.
my rival is
What's the benefit of or the problem? What does it making someone a friend do or don't do?
you get
you get
better helping them. Yeah.
yeah
Um,
+1 on rolls affecting them.
Shall I, Ashante? I think a Gryffindor and a Slytherin as friends is probably going to be fun to play. So let's say yes.
Oh yeah, I think especially like this Gryffindor and this Slytherin,
Yeah.
we're a good team. Like it even crossed. I think it crossed Griselda's mind. Like, should I have just been a Slytherin? The prefect of Gryffindor kind of seems like a jerk. I'll say. And like my friends in Slytherin, and like the hat thought maybe. Whatever. I'm doing my thing. I always do my thing. Okay.
If you didn't put your stat bonus on Gryffindor, Bill, you didn't do that.
Oh, I didn't do that yet. Well,
Just to remind you, otherwise you're doing yourself.
thank you. I
So,
am notoriously bad at remembering things like that. I was just gonna add. Was it anemone
Anemone Andromeda.
as my rival because she seems determined to be my rival.
You only can add or remove a rival per session.
Right. So you can either have a friend or a rival, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't understand that.
Or
Okay, I'll
remove.
take.
Yeah, there's only.
Okay.
Away she goes.
Okay. So now you also get to add mysteries.
Ooh.
And you get to cross off mysteries. So far there are only two mysteries: who writes the Muggle papers and who cursed the giant squid. Do you want to scratch any of them?
No. Not
So
for me, anyway.
yeah,
Scratch. What do you mean by scratch them? I'm sorry.
you consider
Stop
them
exploring
over.
them.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Or
I think those are
yeah.
interesting. I've been taking notes.
Good. Speaking of notes, do you want to add something as a mystery from your
Yes.
notes?
I
I would
definitely
like-
would, but go first, David.
I would like to add a mystery of why are the books on training war dragons hidden from the main library, and where are they? Get him, steal him.
Yep.
Train a dragon. That's my arc.
And I will be cheering you on because that is just the sort of thing I would love to do. While babbling, probably. Do we know what house Emmerich's in? Did we
Emmerich is
identify?
Hufflepuff.
Okay, so he's not in my house. Good. So I think I would like to find out why Anemone was so like weird about this newspaper. Like the newspaper itself is weird, so that's a mystery. But like, why was Anemone like denying she knew what it was and then like really openly hostile about it when all I was trying to do was say like, "Hey, I saw this guy take your stuff." It feels like she clearly has something going on, and she's gonna hate me anyway, so I might as well take it to her affairs. So that is a mystery. And then, David, if you think it's interesting, I would consider pursuing also like what the hell Emmerich's deal is, right? Like he's clearly bigoted against Muggles, and he stole the newspaper, and we don't know why.
And he's a Hufflepuff. What's going on there? Yeah, I think
Right.
he's definitely gonna be a Slytherin.
Yeah, so I think with both of them and their like weird interests, I would just like, is there a conspiracy at the school? Are they separate?
Yeah.
Whatever's going on.
Sure. Good. No problem.
So what is Emmerich hiding?
Other than the newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
I reckon he's probably in love with Griselda. That's most likely the reasoning.
Probably.
He's a teenage. He's a teenage.
Pulls my hair.
Yeah, he's a teenage boy, so it's like.
So, any other mystery?
Oh, so the groundskeeper alluded to like other injured animals. Was that what he was saying to me?
He mentioned that the boy was mentioned weird things happening around with the magical creatures.
Oh,
I
he was actually talking about Mac when he said that.
No, he's probably got an assistant. I understood it as being so.
Okay, I didn't know.
It's not covered in the squid plot already.
Okay, that's fine with me. That's part of the squid plot. I wasn't sure if there was like a separate, like we were just looking into the squid, or if like the general animals of the Hogwarts grounds are in distress.
Well, he did tell you not to go into the forest.
Oh yeah, I should probably at least mention that to Mac. I'll say. Being that I am pureblood, I am aware that there are magical areas you just don't want to go into. So on its face, without any other commentary, I'm just going to be like, sounds like that forest is one of those places. I'm cool. But I'm going to mention it to Mac just in case. Because he seems to know a lot of stuff. I also will be like immediately finding some sort of secret passageway from Gryffindor's common rooms to Slytherins. All what's his nose in the fireplace or something. Like I'm just gonna find a way to be able to communicate with Mac because at this point my own house is not inspiring me much. And Mac like thumped someone for me. It's like the nicest thing anyone's ever done for Griselda.
Cool. We can pick that up in the next play session. Have you got a rotating players for this, Luna? We got others joining us.
Well,
it's really disappointing when people don't turn up for you.
Yeah, me too. So I'm gonna make the call, the nudge on need players for other people to join the wait list. Yeah.
I put in when Garrett wrote back,